I'm going to be showing you how to assemble and install the 15-gallon back-mounted sprayer for your John Deere lawn tractors. Now, this is going to be the 15-gallon sprayer that is meant for either your 100 series or 200 series tractor style mowers. So if you'll stick with me here, we'll get started. So first, let's go over just a little bit about the sprayer itself and the components that are going to come in this kit. So like we said, this is going to be a 15-gallon sprayer. It is equipped with a 2.2 gallon per minute pump here, and it is set up for the 12-volt system, so that way it will mount directly to your battery and have a switch to where we can kick that on and off. Now, you are going to have a hand wand on this sprayer, and then you will also have a 2-nozzle boom that will also be mountable to this sprayer. Now, we also have over here our 2 rear mounting brackets, and then the rest of our pieces and instructions are going to be located inside the tank. So if you get one of these kits, you get that in and you notice that, hey, I'm not seeing the rest of my hardware and everything. It does have a little piece of paper here on top saying that the parts are located inside the tank, but just make sure, don't freak out, just know that everything else that you need should be inside here. Now, the other nice thing about this little slip of paper here that's on top is it says that if you are missing parts, to give this number a call that's located here, or you can also call the place where you had bought this kit from. So once we get inside, we will see that we have a bag of hardware here. Next, we're going to have one of our wiring harnesses here. Now, this is going to be the harness that has our switch on it that'll go from our actual pump here to our next harness, which will mount to the battery. Now, this harness, of course, is going to have the 2 eyelets there to mount to your battery, and then also a fuse here that way to protect your pump here from any electrical issues. So just make sure and know that if you are having issues, your pump's not running, one thing that you'll want to check here is the fuse. Like we said, we'll have our operator manual and instruction booklet, and then also you will have your additional mounting pieces and frame pieces. Now let's go over a few of the tools that we're going to need to do this assembly. For one, we are going to need that tape measure, as we are going to have to make sure we have the right distance between our 2 frame pieces. Next, we're going to need a 1/2-inch wrench and a 3/4 inch wrench, also a 1/2 inch and 3/4 inch socket, and a ratchet. You can use whichever size that you'd like. Here I've got a 3/8 ratchet, and then also a large Phillips screwdriver. Now, to start the actual assembly, we're going to start here with our 2 frame pieces. Now, they are going to sit like this with the flat sides here facing inward. Now, we want to make sure that our 2 fins here are facing the outside, as those are going to mount to the tank. Now, to start here, we'll start with one of our 1/2-inch rods, and we'll go ahead and start 2 of our regular 1/2-inch hex nuts down onto the rod. And once we get those on, then we're going to start them in these 2 back holes here you'll see down towards the bottom. We'll take that rod and go through on one side and through on the other. Now, while you're here and getting started, it'd be a good idea to go ahead and make that first measurement. And what we're wanting here is a distance between these 2 frame pieces from face to face of 13.5 inches. Now, that's going to give us the right distance to make sure that our holes here that are going to mount to the tank line up correctly. So right there, guys, we're at about a little less than 12 inches. So we're going to go ahead and widen this out. We want to make sure that we're doing this evenly on both sides here. All right, so right there we are at 13.5. So now that we've got those on, our next step is going to be taking one of our lock washers and going on each end here, and then going on again with 2 more of our hex head nuts here. And we'll take our 3/4 inch ratchet and wrench here and tighten these down. Now, the next step here, we'll go in with our next rod here. Now, these are going to be with our flange nuts, so we'll go ahead and start those down on both ends of our rod here. Now it's important that we get the flange nuts on this rod in particular, because we want that extra strength on these, as this is going to go on the front of this frame towards the bottom as it's sitting right now, which whenever we put this on the mower will actually be the top hanger. So this is the rod that the weight will mainly hang on the back of the mower, so we do have the flange nuts there. So we'll go ahead and run it through this bottom slot here, and you want to go ahead and get that pushed all the way towards the front of those pieces in that slot. And then we'll go ahead and get our top one started. Now this is important because this is where our pin is going to hinge to our mower. So we need to make sure that your rod here with the hole here at the top is going in this top hole, and this will be just with our regular hex nuts. Then I'm going to go ahead and flip this around, get this a little closer to me here. Now when we're going in with this one, we're going to go in here into our top set of holes. We need to make sure that when we are installing this, our flat piece here on top is facing up. So you'll see that it's welded onto the rod. We need to make sure that it is facing up when we're installing this. That way, whenever it's flipped over and it's mounted onto the mower, it is flat with the back side hitch of our mower. Now, there is a particular way that we're going to mount this to our frame piece there, and you'll notice that the sprayer is going to have two different sides. So for one, we have the side here that is going to have our reading in gallons. Now we're going to want this side facing us, so facing towards the back of the mower at the operator station. Then the other side here is going to be the actual rear of the sprayer, and one thing that we'll notice is our end here that's going to be going towards our boom. We need to make sure that we have our booms and that side of our bracket facing this side so that our hose does go to the boom. So what we're going to do is we'll go ahead and just flip this over. And we already have our pre-drilled holes here in the bottom of the sprayer tank. Then we'll take our bracket and we'll take our side with the single rod, and it's going to go towards the side of the sprayer that's going to be where our booms mount. So once we have this lined up with our holes, our next step here is going to be taking our hex-headed bolts here and flat washers, and we'll just go ahead and get those started. This is what we're going to use our 1/2-inch ratchet for here, so we'll just go ahead and get these started down in. And once we have those on, we can go ahead and tighten down. Now, we don't have to tighten these down crazy tight, as you have to think that these threaded holes are made into the tank, so we don't want to happen to crack those or anything. But just get them fairly tight here, guys, to where you know that is going to be solid and not wiggle around and get loose. Then next up we'll pull the tractor around here that we're going to be putting this on, which will be a 100 series. We'll get that mounting bracket put on, the sprayer put on, and then the boom. Okay, so our first step to mounting this to the back of the tractor is, for one, we're going to want to find our 4 mounting holes that are already pre-drilled here in the back of our 100 or 200 series tractor. Now these are meant for all different attachments, so this bracket that we have here in our mounting kit that has our hook and also our 4 tabs here that will mount there is made specifically for this. So we're simply just going to take this, put it into those holes, and let it fall straight down on just like that. And then the weight of the sprayer will actually hold this onto the tractor here. Grab our sprayer, and we're going to line up our top bar there into that bracket, just like so. And then we'll let that fall down and in. Now next, we're going to take our pin that we have, and it is going to go through that mounting plate that we talked about when we installed this, and then take our pin and install it underneath. And then once we have that done, we have this thing mounted to where it's not going to bounce out as it's held in position by that pin. And now we can go about mounting our boom onto the back. Before we mount the boom, one thing that I'd point out is, as you'll notice that as I pick up on this, we do have a little bit of play here from where that pin is riding and from where our rod is riding here. Now, like I talked about before, we do have this slotted hole here. So if you'd like for this to sit a little more straight up, you can loosen these nuts and then raise this up and let that rod run down into the other part of this slot here, and that'll raise this up and level this out just a little more. And that's something that you might want to do depending on, you know, where you're going to be using this at. So just know that you can make that adjustment to make this ride just a little more straight. So mounting our boom here, guys, very simple process. We'll see here in the boom itself, we have 2 holes right here from the center to the outside there, and then we're going to have our mounting spots here on the frame. We're just going to take that, pull that hose out of the way, and then take our screws here with the Phillips head. Go ahead, run those down through just like that, and same thing here on the other side. Get those ran through, and then we can put them down into our mounting holes here. And we will take our hex nuts here, our flange nuts, and tighten those down. And then once that's done, we're going to take our hose here and connect it to our barb there going to the boom. So also, guys, while we're here, a couple of things I'll point out is we do have the option here with this valve to either turn our booms on or off. And then we're also going to have a valve on top where we can either turn on or off our hand wand. So you do have those options depending on what spraying you're doing. You can either choose to use the boom and the hand wand, or just one or the other. Now the next step here will be installing our wiring harness, and this one is a little bit up to you on the way that you do this. But the main thing that you need to do is when we're installing this harness, our short end off of the switch is going to go to our pump side here. So we'll find our plug there and our plug here. Like I said, making sure we're on the short side. That way when it's plugged in, we can have it on either side of the seat and have that easy to use. But we're going to plug that in there, just like so. And then we can choose whether we want it on our right-hand side or our left-hand side. And once we've chosen that, you're also going to have 5 of these wire clips in this kit that you can choose the places on the mower that you want this to stick. And then we'll run our long end up to the front so that we can connect to the battery. Now, once we've chosen whichever side we're going to have this run out, next is going to be installing our battery side harness. So this is going to be as simple as taking off our bolts there at the battery, taking off our cover here on our positive and our negative, making sure to undo our negative first and then our positive, and then slip our eyelets onto red to red, black to black, and then running this harness outside of whichever side we choose. And then once we have that ran outside, then we're able to connect to our harness that goes all the way back to our sprayer and to our switch. All right, guys, so there you have it. There was the installation and assembly instructions for the 15-gallon mounted rear sprayer for the 100 series and 200 series John Deere lawn tractors. Now, if you're watching this video and think that this is something that you definitely need for your mower, I'm going to leave a link in the description below where you can get this. This is part number LP53283. Make sure to check that out. Go and get yours today. Guys, I hope that this video was helpful, and if it was, we just ask that you'd hit that like button and give us a subscribe, as that helps us out as well. And also, guys, we are going to be one of the best places online to buy your John Deere parts. So I'll also leave a link in the description below where you can go to check that out. And as always, guys, thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. Hey guys, make sure to go buy your parts right here and subscribe right here.